Hey everyone, if you're new here, my name is Jagger, and today we're going to be talking about research, how to find it, and what research is for those who are pre-med or pre-health or even medical students. So what does it mean to do research, and why should we even care about doing research? So let's go ahead and dive right in. So what actually is research if you are a pre-med or pre-health individual? Well, it can be many different things. For some, it might be wet lab research, so actually sitting at the bench doing experiments, micropipetting, doing things with test tubes, stuff like that. Or it could be clinical research, working with patient populations and working on a project there. There's also the social sciences, public policy. There's many different facets to research that you can actually enter into, which is good because if you're looking for this research, you'd want a wide array of options. So now let's talk about why would you even want to do research, right? What's the point of this if you're a pre-med or pre-health individual? Well, according to the Association of American Medical Colleges, 73% of applicants had some sort of research activity on their application. So this means that it's imperative that you at least get some research if you plan on applying for medical school. But why do we care? What's the point of doing this research besides just checking off a box, right? Medical schools are looking for those students who are critical thinkers, they're adaptable, and they can think on their feet very quickly. Research gives you these skills and then some. By engaging in research, you get to own in on your critical thinking skills. For example, many times when I was doing research, I was just left alone. My mentor would give me some simple instructions and say, all right, this is the project, this is what we're gonna do, and I'll be in my office doing my thing. And a lot of times, maybe it's clear, maybe it's not. And when it's not clear, you can ask other people around you, but oftentimes you want to take it upon yourself and figure out, let me do some research on my own. Let me look things up, let me read the literature, so that way I can find out for myself. And that's where that critical thinking aspect comes in. You start to develop that. And the sooner on in your career as an undergrad or even graduate student that you start to develop that, the better off it's going to be later on when you need to employ those skills in a life or death situation, for example, in the healthcare field. Beyond just ticking off that box for your application, having research opens up a wide array of doors. The most important aspect of research is going to be the networking aspect. The people that I've met just by getting my foot in the door and doing some basic research have shown me all the opportunities that could exist, not only for myself at this moment, but in the future in terms of my career. Things that I would have never thought of, insights or perspectives that I would have never seen. But just by talking to different people within my lab, going to conferences or meetings, even getting insight from my PIs, they helped me see different perspectives that are more valuable than almost anything I've done in my academic career thus far. Engaging in research also gives you something to put onto your resume once you've completed it. Having that on your resume allows you to then open up more doors easier in the future when you're looking for other research opportunities. Or for example, if you're applying to programs, a lot of summer programs, they require letters of recommendation, things like that. And so having that kind of network, that open door for you, allows you to then apply for greater and greater opportunities. And it makes it just that much easier as you move forward. Once you have one thing under your belt, the next thing just gets a little bit easier. So now let's talk about the main reason for this video. How do you find this research? You hear people talking about it, I was doing research, this and that, but how do you actually find it? Where is this research, right? Especially if you're coming into it and you have no clue, where do you begin to look, right? So the first place I would suggest you start looking for research if you're an undergraduate or even in a graduate institution is to actually talk to your professors. They could be professors that you're taking classes with or that you don't have classes with. A lot of times, the professors that you're working with, they're working on projects that they want to finish, they want to put papers out there, they have grants to this and that, and they're eager to find research assistants. A lot of times though, I've found that they won't advertise. They'll just, for example, they'll have their research, they'll say what their mission statement is, but they aren't necessarily sitting out there handing out, flyers saying, here, I need a researcher, and that's kind of the key thing is getting into there and talking to them, finding out if they're working on something, or if not, maybe they know another professor that is. They could at least point you in the right direction. For example, my first research gig that I got, I was taking an introductory biology class and I had a great professor and she saw something in me that I didn't necessarily see. And one day I'm sitting there she comes by and she hands me this flyer on my desk and she says, I want you to sign up for this. And I'm like, well, what is this? And I look at it, it's some QR code, and it's talking about summer research program, this and that. And I'm like, okay, I don't even really know what this is, but if you think I should, then you're qualified, right? I applied for it. She actually ended up writing a letter of recommendation for me. Once I saw in the application, I said, oh my gosh, can you help me with this? Wrote that, ended up getting that opportunity, and I got to do research as an undergrad in a lab for a whole year to get paid, to do a poster presentation, to get publications, to meet other researchers, go to conferences, all of that, just because I looked at a flyer, someone gave me. So sometimes it can be as simple as that. You might have to also go on your university's research website. Most universities should have some sort of department or office for undergraduate researchers. So I really suggest you start out and check that out as well. Just look up your university's name and see if there's, I would put university blah, 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 undergraduate research opportunities. Just do that simple search, and sometimes they'll have them listed there. Other times they might just have an email or phone number. Just email them, even call them. Just say, hey, I'm a junior and a researcher. I'm doing biology and I want to do some research. Where do I start? What do I do? So you have to kind of just put yourself out there. That's going to be the biggest emphasis that I instill in you guys. Just put yourself out there. Just go for it, because like I said, a lot of times they're not going to give you that opportunity. They're not just going to hand it out. You really have to go grab it. Another avenue that I would suggest for looking up research opportunities would be to look outside of your own school. A lot of times, especially in the summertime or even during winter quarters, it just depends. There's these 8-week or 3-month programs that are going on. They're offered by NIH, CDC, or even other medical schools around you. For example, my second research opportunity, it was about maybe an hour away from where I was living at UC San Diego, the School of Medicine. And they were just hosting an 8-week program open to all undergraduates. All you need was one letter of recommendation and a brief essay. And that was it. I applied for that. I put in the letter, and it's not something I was thinking about, just like, let me at least try. And I ended up getting it. And so sometimes you really just have to cast a wide net beyond just your own university. Those things are good as well, especially if you want to travel. Like, because of that opportunity, I got to go live on the campus. They paid a stipend for my housing, for my food, and they paid a stipend for my actual research. So I was getting paid to live, eat, and stay there and work at the school. So that's another really amazing opportunity, is look around you, not just within your own school, but just branch out within your area. Especially if you have the means to travel, I would definitely recommend looking up places that are a little bit farther away. If you can drive there and stay, that's an extra bonus as well in terms of your research. Finally, the last thing I wanted to talk about in terms of finding research is creating the cold email. Now, this one I think honestly is very interesting because it's very daunting in a sense. You just create this cold email, this script that you send out to all these labs, right? You look up the lab categories in your own school. For example, I went on our neurophysiology and biomedical sciences departments in my school, and just looking at professors, you look up the different labs and see what they're doing, and you see what interests you. And you send out this script. They almost always have their email, sometimes a phone number, but I would really recommend just sticking to email so you have it there. And I would also recommend sending it from your school email. It kind of adds to that credibility of like, hey, I'm a student, like I go here, I'm not just some random guy off the street, just kind of backing up yourself. So you send that script and you say, hey, I'm very interested in your research. I'd very much like to kind of talk to you about it. Do you have some time? Can we meet on Zoom or a phone call or anything like that? That's actually how I got my most recent lab experience. I was looking at the departments in my school. I crafted a cold email with the help of some of my peers and just sent it out. I ended up interviewing at 3 or 4 different labs, kind of just seeing what would be a good fit for the summer, for my time and my commitments. And I just decided to start going with one, all because I put myself out there. And when I got in the lab, the researchers were telling me, who were kind of mentoring me, they're saying, we didn't expect anyone to work with us, but when we saw your email, it was kind of a wake-up call, like, hey, this would actually be good. We could teach someone these skills. They could get something out of it in the sense of publications and research and networking, and kind of a win-win all around. So really you want to focus on trying to kind of send that out, especially if you don't really have a lead and you don't know what to do. It really is a good opportunity, at the very least, just to talk to other professors. A lot of times the emails I'd get back, they're very happy to say, hey, this is awesome. I'm happy that you're interested in my research. Do you have time to meet? Let's talk about it. And, almost half the time as well, you're not going to get a response. Or you might get a response say, hey, I'm sorry, my lab's full. Or, oh, I don't want to take anyone. I'm sorry, maybe later. That's okay. You just keep going on with it and you cast that wide net. So in conclusion, research is not just something you can check off on your medical school application. I mean, it is and it isn't, right? But the main point is that you want to engage in research because it promotes a lot of growth personally, intellectually, and professionally for your life as well as your future career. So by engaging in research, you contribute to medical knowledge, you enhance your own skill set, which will only help you further down the line when applying for other opportunities, and you build your network. Your network really will help you along the way in terms of letters of recommendation, if you apply for scholarships, even getting references, things like that, especially publications or poster presentations, going to conferences and meeting other people. It really opens up a wide array of doors, especially if you're trying to become a physician and gain entrance into medical school. As always, thank you guys for watching, and please leave some comments. Let me know if, anything you want to know, and thank you.